what we're doing to challenge ourselves into being more consistent. And so, if you have been following this along, or if you haven't already started plugging in, we're doing 5 days of consistency or 5 days of mastering consistency, where we're just encouraging ourselves to do the same thing over and over again. You know that I've said this before if you're not new here, but if you're new, it might be the first time to hear me saying this, that repetition produces mastery, right? Repetition produces mastery. Every time you repeat something, every time you keep on doing something consistently, you get to a point where you start to become a master at that thing. And so that's why they say if you constantly wake up and do the same thing, if you want to create a habit, you have to do the same thing and stick on the same thing for quite some while in order for it to become a good habit. And sometimes as well, for you to be able to displace a bad habit, you need to replace it with a good habit. But you can't do that just overnight and then you expect to say, of course, miracles happen. I'm a strong believer that you can see transformations in your weight. You can pray for miracles for your weight to change and shift. And there is nothing that God cannot do. He's so great and mighty, and He can work in whichever way. He's not limited. But also, sometimes the answer to the prayer can actually just be you need to go and put in the work. You need to be consistent. You need to find something and commit to that thing. And so we are asking ourselves to say, what is it that we can commit to, that we can give it just a little bit of our time? We have 24 hours in a day, which is quite a significant chunk of time. And if you try to break down your 24 hours of a day, hopefully you're sleeping about between 7 to 9 hours, because that's what is recommended. 7 to 9 hours of sleep will be amazing. 8 will be like a sweet spot. And then maybe calculate and see how much of that time, of the remaining time, do you usually spend, let's say, on eating? How much of that time do you spend on social media, etc.? You realize that sometimes we actually don't really prioritize time for the things that matter, and the things that do not matter are the ones that we give much priority on. And so that's why we're asking ourselves, we're really kind of focusing ourselves and saying we want to be able to be a people that we can actually transform the way we live or change the way we act and behave with things because of forming new habits. But then we need time to be able to establish those things. We need time to be able to work through those things. We need time to be able to see the changes and the shifts that we desire. And so that's how we're saying to ourselves, we're committing only 5 days. We're not committing, as I said, eternity. It's not committing for a long time. But if you can do 3 days, if you can do 5 days, why can't you do 100 days? If you can do just the little baby steps, you wake up in the morning and say, I'm going for it. You wake up in the morning and say, I'm really committing, and I'm not asking you to commit a lot of your time. Nope. I'm not asking you to commit eternity. Nope. I'm only asking you to commit only half an hour of your day. And that half an hour of your day, you're committing it and saying, I will use this half an hour to go for an exercise, for example, or I will use this half an hour to read, or half an hour. But mostly what I'm looking at the moment is just physical activity, half an hour of that. Why am I saying half an hour? I said yesterday is simply because that's what is recommended. You can do half an hour of an exercise, half an hour of something that will completely bring transformation in your life in the longer time. Sometimes when I think about my health, or when I think about the things that I do and the investments that I do in my life, I do want to think about it like a health bank. I usually say that. I've told this to my students over and over again. I say to my students every time I teach them, I say, try to think about it like you, for example, in the normal, in the physical, if I am getting some money, I'm using the money, but also saving some money. It will get to a point, maybe when my son gets to 18, I can actually say to him, here's money I've been saving for you. Go and do whatever that you want to do with the money, right? Or if I've been saving some money every time I'm working, I can actually be able to buy a car or buy a house, do whatever that I want to do with that money. But if I haven't been saving and it gets to a point where the rainy day comes and I need to be able to do something with that rainy day, I'll go to the bank and the bank will say you are in overdraft. And most of the banks, like where I live, they will not really give you a lot of money when it comes to overdrafts. And that's why I usually say when it comes to our health, try to think about it like an investment. And I can see some of you live this morning. Thank you so much for joining me. I like to think about it like investing in your health, right? Every single time you are depositing something. So if you're going to do that 30 minutes, which we're just asking you this week to commit only 5 days, 30 minutes a day, and these 30 minutes you're investing it in exercise. Try to think about it like when I'm doing that 30 minutes, I'm actually allowing myself to deposit something in my health bank, right? I'm actually allowing myself to get something into my health bank. I'm actually putting something towards my future. And when it gets to a point where we have to start withdrawing, when menopause hits, and we need those minerals and nutrients that will keep us, or when we get into old age and we start to feel like some things are giving in, our bodies are beginning to give in, you will need to go back into those investments, into those deposits that you've made to be able to withdraw. But if you haven't been depositing anything, what are you going to be able to withdraw? That's where I usually say we get to the time where, because our bodies haven't been depositing enough calcium and we need the calcium for bone development, we get to a point where we have things like osteoporosis, we have the diseases that come with age. And so why can't we use our healthy years investing in our health bank so that when we need that back, we can be able to go and start to withdraw? And somebody once said to me something that I'll never forget. This person said to me, don't use your healthy years chasing after wealth. That when you get to a place, you have to use your wealth to try and get your health back. And so that's what we're saying to ourselves. In this duration of time, in this half an hour, what we're doing is we are intentional about deciding to go, and we are committing and saying to ourselves, no matter what, we're going to go out there for just half an hour. And this half an hour, we can do some things like brisk walking. In this half an hour, we can do things like running. If you're a runner, you can just do a normal walk. As I said, you can't start from walking, from running, if you haven't crawled, right? If you need to crawl, if you need to walk, if you need, wherever the stage where you are, take it from where you are, right? So you're committing to 30 minutes and saying, I'm going to go out for a walk. I said for some of us who work in offices, you can actually decide over lunch hour to go for a lunch hour walk, or you can take your children to school by walking, or you can, there's so many different things in which you can do investing into that 30 minutes, right? Or you can decide to go for swimming, you can decide to go to the gym, you can decide to do whatever that you want to do. It's your own decision. But one thing that I said is when you do the commitment, when you commit yourself to doing that 30 minutes, you need to ensure that you're doing it within a chunk of time so that you're not spreading it around, so that anything else that you will be doing later on will be like a bonus. So you'll be like, if I'm going to walk up the stairs rather than taking an elevator, that was going to be a bonus for me. If I'm going to walk from the bus stop back home rather than driving or things like that, that will be a bonus. But I'm going to take time, and as you're going out, be intentional to think about like the environment where you are, to think about the nature, to think about the beauty of creation as you're doing the run, as you're doing the walk. Be present, be there, enjoy the moment, enjoy the time that you have, enjoy whatever that you're seeing around you, and just let that moment be a moment of solemn moment of you just connecting with yourself, connecting with your inner self, connecting with your inner man, and also using that moment maybe to clear up some of the things that you need to clear up from your mind, maybe to clear up some of the things that have been weighing on you. Some of us, we're walking around with weights around us, and we're walking around with things surrounding us, and it might just be some time that you'll say, I might actually as well let go of these things as I'm doing my exercise. And for them, some of us who love prayer, it doesn't matter whether you're a Christian. For me, I'm a Christian, and I'm so grateful for that. You might as well use that time to pray. Do a prayer walk. Maybe walk as you pray for things. Walk around your block and pray for things. Walk around your home and pray for things. That could be something that you can still be able, as they say, you're feeding two birds with the same stone. Ensuring that you're using that opportunity, using that time to be able to be productive and proactive as well. You're using that time to say, I will do my prayer walk, or I'll do a prayer run, and then come back home and I can be able to still do other things. So that at the end of the day, you're getting yourself investing into you little investments of your health bank, so that when you need it later on in life, you'll have something to be able to withdraw. You'll not be saying to yourself, woe unto me that when I had those younger years, I never invested in things that can actually help me, so that when you're older, remember one day you'll get to a point where you'll have to look back and think, did I do the right thing? Did I make the right decisions and things like that? So it's a challenge that we are calling us to do. It's a moment that I'm calling us to say, guys, it's only half an hour. It doesn't have to be eternity, as I said. Let's all invest in our health. Give yourself just 30 minutes of your 24 hours a day. Then the rest of your time, do whatever that you want to do. Go out and change your life through whatever that you will be doing. It's my prayer and my hope that you know that you're loved, celebrated, and appreciated. I pray that you have a great and fantastic day. I'm off for a run now, and when I come back, I'll do a small shot to show you my half an hour of activity. But until then, I hope that you know, as I said, I pray that you will prosper and be in good health as your souls prosper. May the Lord richly bless you. Have a fantastic day, and I shall meet up again with you tomorrow, which will be day 4. And of course, we'll be only having one more day to go, which will be Friday. Have a fantastic, blessed, and awesome day. Goodbye.